Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay Jack and I'll be presenting my comparison of Sears versus Amazon for my master's class. So the first thing I wanted to compare between Sears and Amazon was the value discipline. Now I chose Sears and Amazon because Sears was basically the Amazon of its time. So when it came into the market, it was revolutionizing. And now in our time, Amazon is just like that, except digital. So talking about value discipline, Sears set themselves apart with customer intimacy. So when Sears first started, they started as a mail order company in which farmers in rural areas could order tools and equipment that they used to get at small town community stores that were extremely overpriced and the options were limited. So Sears came in and they had a ton of different options and much cheaper prices because they had lower costs. So this really set them apart with driving that relationship with customers. They moved on to operational excellence and then progressed into product leadership by opening up, all of their stores and having a lot more products. Now, Amazon focuses mainly on operational excellence. We all know Amazon, it's online, it's huge, everybody uses it. They also double up on customer intimacy. So one of the huge things with Amazon is their customer service and the relationship they have with their customers that really sets them apart. And lastly is product leadership. They've had a few hiccups in the past, such as when they made their Fire phone, but they have progressed into developing newer products that are setting them apart. So the primary customers of Sears, as I said before, it started as a mail order retailer that provided cheaper and a wider variety of tools and supplies. So that was their main focus. As they grew into more brick and mortar stores, they tried to reach out to everyone, and then after a downturn, they marketed to families with their huge campaign in the 90s of Come See the Softer Side of Sears. Now this was to reach out after there was a small downturn and they wanted customers to know that there was more than just the tools and the equipment that they started their company with. Now Amazon started as a site to sell books, and when that started, they reached out to the original customer base of college students and just a general book buying target market. As they've grown to be so large, as we all know, that appeal has spread out into almost every market segmentation. So they actually have specific lifestyle stages that they can appeal to on their website. They have newly married couples, they have first children, they have full families, they have retired. They have just a huge array of lifestyle changes and stages that they address in different ways. So there's actually a link in the references to one of the articles. It's really interesting to see how they sort that out. So when it comes to building relationships, Sears really set them apart by reinventing retail shopping. Before their mail order service, no one in rural areas really had access to what they could provide. So by being a company that could bring these new products to them, they really built a loyal customer base. Then moving on into the 70s and the 80s, they created the wish book and the catalog, which people like my parents or my boss, they would send it out around Christmas time, and the children would go through and they would bookmark the pages that they wanted gifts from. And this kind of built a very family relationship with Sears that made it hard for families to break away because of that loyalty. Their children loved it. They loved it. It had been around for so long. I mean, it started in the 1800s, late 1800s, that they just built this insane customer loyalty. Now, moving on to Amazon, one of their biggest things is customer service. I'm sure all of us have seen or heard or even experienced ourselves something great with Amazon's customer service. They're known for quick responses, discounts if there's something wrong, even giving free products. I actually had a friend who ordered a jacket from Amazon and they sent it to them in the wrong color. So she notified them and they said, you know what, we'll send you the right coat for free and just keep the one that we accidentally sent you. It's things like this that build such strong brand loyalty and free marketing. I mean, everybody talks about it. They tell their friends, they tell their families. On top of this, they tailor offers and promotions. So if you go on the website after buying something, they have recommendations, different seasons. If you are an Amazon Prime member, you get emails with recommendations. You get all sorts of deals, especially with shipping. I mean, the shipping is amazing. You can get it within 24 hours. They really set themselves apart with how much they focus on their customers and their products, and this is where they're building their relationships. Okay, so using artificial intelligence to market. Now, this is where Sears started to face their downturn and where it started going bad for them. They had a lack of use of artificial intelligence. They were not adapting fast enough to the way the market was advancing, especially technologically, and this is really where it hurt them. Now, there were some places where they would try to get into artificial intelligence. Like in 2017, they partnered with IBM to use artificial intelligence to help customers pick tires. So with their auto industry, they would use Watson, and customers could use an app on their phones to decide what kind of tires would best fit their car, their lifestyle, etc. Now, Amazon uses the flywheel approach of sharing energy to produce effective artificial intelligence. So what this means is that basically their artificial intelligence, it spreads out the energy that all their databases are using to focus where it needs to be. So basically it's not wasting energy trying to cover all of the grounds of Amazon, but it still uses it extremely effectively. It's mainly used for product recommendations, like I've talked about before with customer service, and it's been extremely effective for them. So one of the biggest turning points for Sears, and ultimately the demise of Sears, was the rise of Amazon and the internet. So while Sears revolutionized retail buying, they were overtaken by stores like Walmart, who were on the rise. They had high inventory counts. So any store you went into, any store you go into even now, has so many products. And while Sears had so many, Walmart had such high numbers and with these big box stores and such low costs. And when Sears started, they did have low costs, but they could not keep up with how fast-paced it was moving with Walmart. And then when Amazon came on with websites, they just took over the digital market. This was really bad because the response was they got a new CEO in the early 2000s. And what the CEO did was create each business unit to be separate. So they became competitive and faced each other. And this made a terrible work environment. And ultimately they were competing with each other, weren't focusing on technology, and it all went downhill from there. A turning point for Amazon was the rise of the internet. Jeff Bezos recognized how fast the increase in the use of the internet was happening. He took advantage of it, he dove into it, and started small with it being books, and it just flourished into what it is today. So organizing for digital maturity, Sears started in the early stages of digital maturity. Like I said, they weren't focused on it. They were focused on competing each other. They took their attention away from technology, and this was really bad for them. Now for Amazon, this is one of the very few companies that I think I can say with confidence that they are in the maturing stage. Their whole company is built on their digital maturity. They keep progressing with their customers, and this is why they're so successful. And lastly, the use of analytics. So Sears made the decision to switch back to brick and mortar retail when they started going down. They did this because they didn't see their business growing as fast and as great as they wanted to. Towards the end, though, they threw out all regards for personnel. They were hiring anyone they wanted. It was a mess. Now, Amazon, they built a company that maintains its great reviews of customer service. They use their analytics to know what they're doing right, and then they use that same predictive analysis for products that can be applied to hiring new employees. So they find people that work great with her company, with the culture, etc. So here's a list of references. Please feel free to click through the articles that I read through. They're extremely interesting, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.